Hey guys, this is Kyle here from Team Moon. Today we're doing a deck profile of Chris's Hat deck. And take it away.
Alright, so obviously Hat isn't as good as what it used to be a long time ago, but with some right tech cards it can still compete a little bit. You just gotta know how to play it. So I start off with the standard 3 fire hands, 3 ice hands. You try to cycle them as much as possible, wear away your opponent's board, standard hand stuff. And the 3 Trap Tricks Vermilio to search out my trap hole cards, and then Diana to special summon the Vermilio, make rank 4 plays, all that good stuff. So then we have the artifact engine. I'm running one of each, the good ones anyways, Moraltac, Beagletac, Scythe, and Caduceus. Caduceus is kind of just card draw. Sometimes in the faster matchups, if you can go like Sanctum for Caduceus, and then summon a bunch of other artifacts, you might be able to draw a card or two while making your board pretty great. And then just for consistency, I run a 1 card Cardi. Sometimes you just need the extra card draw now to keep up. So that's it for monsters, so I'll get that out of your way. So moving on to spells, standard, just 3 MSTs. These make your plays go off. You can either use it for your opponent's back row, or if you need to pop a artifact monster you have set, doesn't really matter. Then you have the 3 times Pot of Duality. Searches, makes your deck more consistent, allows you to pick what you need at what time. And then 2 artifact ignition. I only ran it at 2 because I found at 3 I was just never getting a chance to use them all, and then they just clog my board. At 2, it still allows you to do like your Beagletac play, where you ignition the Beagletac, set something else, Beagletac hits the field, destroys it, and then you get another monster. Really good. It really just makes your rank 5 plays doable in 1 turn. 1 soul charge. Sometimes you just need that extra push. You might lose all your monsters or whatever, and that's it for spells. We don't run many spells. So now for the bread and butter of the deck, the traps. So we run 3 artifact Sanctum, standard. It's how you make your artifact plays too. It's great when your opponent tries to destroy your back row and they hit a Sanctum. You can do some pretty cool things. Then we have our trap hole cards. I run 1 bottomless, 1 time space, and 1 trap tricks, trap hole nightmare. My reasoning for that is I used to run 2 time space, and then I figured just 1 of each was better, and then side the other ones, and then depending on the matchup I can sub, like if the time space is the better, I can take a trap tricks, trap hole nightmare, so on and so forth. 2 Call the Haunted. It allows me to use my effects for the artifacts like a second time, like if I use the Moraltac and it's stuck in grave and I desperately need to either stop an extra deck summon or whatever I can, just play Call the Haunted before they get a chance to summon it. Spread it with Scythe or Moraltac, pop a card, do whatever. And also good for pushing for more damage. If you need an extra 1600, you can throw a Call the Haunted, bring back Vermilio, pop a spell, and then still poke for some damage. 2 times Deep Prison. Where it's more defensive reactive deck, you need something to stop cards that can't be destroyed by card effects, and banishing is good, and we all know that. Now we got the 1-ofs. So I played Ring of Destruction, Solemn Warning, Compulse and Vanities, as well as Torrential. I played Torrential because sometimes where it is a slower deck, you just need to be able to wipe what your opponent's doing. Vanity's Emptiness, make a board, stop your opponent from making a board. Solemn Warning, standard. That's pretty much it. So that's it now for the traps. We'll move on to the extra deck. So we'll start out with the 5-drops. We have 1 Volcasaurus. He's really good. Burns people for burns them for damage, and just out to a lot of cards. Pleiades is a really good push. You get out a Pleiades, and then you really just get really good board control with this card. Artifact Durendal, if it's a really annoying monster that you can't really get over, you summon Durendal, force him to pop one of your back row, and then you can do, like, if he's able to negate an effect or something, you just turn it into, you summon Arc and Durendal, go for Arc's effect, and then when he tries to negate it, you just turn it into a pop a back row, and you still get to steal it. So yeah, then we have Captain Steal Your Bitch, as well as, so he's just really good. He's defensive as well. Like I run a Castel as well, but sometimes you just want to have the more defensive. You just steal it, and then you can also take a hit with it. Castel is nice for the cards that get their effects off when they hit the graveyard. You can just shuffle them back into the deck. Rhapsody is able to buff my other XZ cards, and he's also good for just getting rid of problem cards that when they keep going back to the grave, you summon Rhapsody, banish two cards from his grave, and then boost one of your other XZ monsters. Die Gusto is how we keep the stall games going. You pretty much have infinite monsters when you have 2 Die Gusto. So you summon one, you shuffle back as many cards as you can, then when that one dies, you bring out the other Die Gusto, shuffle the first Die Gusto back into the extra deck as well as 2 other cards, and you can just keep looping cards back and forth, back and forth. So if you ever get into a stall war, you just won't lose on card draw. Dark Rebellion is an out to a lot of cards. You can also just become a huge beater. 2500 attack is good by itself, but then when it gains the attack of another monster, it gains half the attack of another monster, it can be really problematic. Steel Swarm Roach, it's really good if you can get it out early against Yang Zings, because you can just start negating their synchro summons, and that's really nice. Black Ship, don't really need to run this card anymore. There's probably some better options. It does have its uses. Burning for 1,000 damage, getting rid of problem monsters that can't be destroyed by battle, and I believe it sends. Yeah, it sends instead of destroys, so that's nice. Cowboy, just as well to push for extra damage. Abyss Dweller, standard, helps out against Yang Zings, Burning Abyss. You can summon it as well with Ice Hand, so it becomes 2300 attack, a little bit more of a beef. And then finally, Ragna Zero. It doesn't come up often, but when it does, it can be really good because it's got a good 2400 attack, and then its ability to just destroy something when its attack is changed, and then you draw a card, it just can generate a lot of advantage for you if you play it in the right matchups. So that's it for the extra deck. There's probably some better options, but this is what I run. Now we're moving on to the side deck. The side deck hasn't been updated in a while, but it's still an alright side deck. You play the 1 Mind Control. If you play against other decks that run level 4s, you can steal them, or even level 5s, you can steal them and then make your own XCs. Dark Hole, that should be a Regeki, but I only have 1, and I'm too lazy to change it in and out, so it's Dark Hole unless I absolutely need it. A third Deep Prison, just against another more decks that float right when they hit the graveyard. You just try and banish them away. Also, it's very defensive. 2 Wiretap. If I ever run into trap-heavy decks, it's nice to be able to force your plays to go through with the 2 Wiretaps. 2 Blackhorn. Another very good card against Yang Zings. It stops their summons, so before they can make their Baxia or whatever they want to use immune to traps, you can just Blackhorn it, and then it's good. Chain Disappearance, good against. It was originally in there against to combat. What was it? Monarchs. Yeah, it was originally in there to combat Monarchs because you could get rid of their the dark monster and the light one that they keep summoning. So it really limited their plays when you were able to chain Disappearance one of those. It's also, however, very good against Yang Zings if you can hit the right card and you can hit it early. You just chain Disappearance and then they lose 3 of the Baxia, I believe, is the one you want to hit. And then they can't make their monsters immune to, I believe it's trap cards for Baxia. Pulling the Rug. Like I said, this hasn't been updated in a while. The last time I really updated, Constellars were a really good, or not Constellars, but Satellars were a really good deck, and that's what the Pulling the Rug was for. You just kind of stop them from making their plays. Could probably be subbed out for something else now because I really don't know what else it can really make a difference on. 2 Breakthrough Skill. Effect Negation's always good. That's the Trap Trick Trap Hole Nightmare. And then where it's a very Bernie stall deck and you want to try and get rid of your opponent's plays, I do run the one Lava Golem. It's if you absolutely just can't find a way out, it was actually meant for Cosmos. There's a guy here that used to play Cosmos, and then if he got a good board, you just got rid of it with Lava Golem, because other than that, there was really no other way for you to take it on.
It's like a beefy kaiju.
Yeah. So that's it for the deck profile. I'm open to any suggestions, really. It's not meant to be played in like high-level tournament play. It's kind of just what we use around. It's kind of just meant for what we do around here, which is just for fun. And obviously, some people have the higher end decks, but it can still compete if you play it right. The one thing I like about Hat is you can make it to combat the meta. You just run so many different trap cards. Like, let's say Dimensional Prison was bad and Mirror Force was better. Well, I'd cut the 2 Dimensional Prison and I put in 2 Mirror Force. Like, you can just adjust the traps to what you need for the meta, and that's just what makes it good. Like it probably will never be as good as what it was, but you can always it'll always be decent, we'll say, unless they really nuke it with a ban list. But that's it.
All right, cool. Thanks, guys. That was Kris with his very efficient hat deck. He kind of shits on us sometimes. Thanks a lot. See you guys later.